All right, welcome back to another episode of the Fully Corked podcast. My name is John. My co-host is Charlie, and today we're going to get into a little bit of wine. Charlie, how about you introduce it?
All right, so we have La Ferme Julien. Is that how you think you would say it, or an educated
Uh,
person would?
I think it's French, so I'm going to pronounce the vowels. La Ferme Julien.
Okay, nice. And it's it is a rosé. I haven't really. Oh, it's a French rosé. Yeah, so coming out of the south of France. I'm not sure exactly when or why we decided to go with the rosé, but it's the middle of the week, so kind of a light drink. I'm expecting it'll won't have me feeling too beat up tomorrow, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a little half and half. Little white grapes, a little bit of red grapes. Should we pour this up?
Yeah, let's rip it.
Do another rank our pour.
Yeah, we got our first comment today on YouTube, by the way, for the pour. I don't know if you saw this.
I did see that.
It won't be true when this comes out, but keep commenting, people. We appreciate it. We love you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna put the mics down, or actually, I'll commentate and I'll talk over Charlie's. I'll give you my best commentation.
Commentation.
What's it smelling like these days? I always think the smelling is the hardest part of like any type of wine tasting. And like a good sommelier will probably tell you that they know everything they need to know about the wine by the smell. Not me.
No, and I don't think either of us claim to be one. But in time, we're growing. So, John, as you said, mix of different grapes in this one. I'm gonna give it a taste and see what I can deduce.
All right. As Charlie takes his sip, I'm going to pour my wine. Hopefully picked up with the cameras. If not, here's what it looks like. I'll give you I'll take a little taste too. Charlie, let's get your initial thoughts.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna like this more than I thought I was going to, because it's kind of closer to kind of a tartar, drier white than I was like rosé. I kind of think like fruity, like kind of fruit forward, but it's not so much that, which is appreciated uh, in this household. So
Yeah, so I picked this rosé specifically because of that. I'm not a huge rosé fan. Maybe
yeah,
I will be by the
yeah,
end of this pod, but
yeah, yeah.
not the biggest rosé fan, but this stuff from Trader Joe's, La Ferme Julien, it's like $6 and it's nice and dry, easily drinkable. I mean, you can stock up. Like just you take your cart and you just go right off the
Yeah,
rack.
yeah. I might have to. Summer's right around the corner. Could be good. There's this is unverified. Allegedly, could be electrolytes in this. Could be good for the marathon fuel. We'll see. But it is light. It's refreshing. It's nice. I mean, I suppose I don't think I'd usually crack it open and start getting into it at about 10:20 CST, but I'm happy I am now.
That's well put, Charlie. Beautiful. I'm going to be bold and brave here and try to give some sort of flavor profile. I have not read the back of the bottle, which is a little unfortunate, but here we go. I have some light berries.
Okay.
I do hear or feel the crispness. Maybe like a little bit of an apple, like a green
Okay.
apple.
Oh,
Right? Like that's kind of like the acidity.
I keep going. Keep going. Don't let me interrupt your flow.
I mean, anything beyond this is me talking out of my ass.
So I'm actively doing a little bit of cheating. I'm on the Trader Joe's website, a website I'm on often, and I'm seeing it one pictured with some shrimp and lemons on the side is what this person is advertising it should be enjoyed with, but they say on the palate this very aromatic wine shows fresh fruit notes with a great persistence, and
Mm.
kind of lingers, but at the same time I don't know. It'd be very hard. They don't identify fruit. I think green apples. It's good a guess as any. But delicate red fruits, actually, flowers
Oh,
and citrus aromas. Maybe I'll pick that up a little further into the bottle.
For those of you that are listening and following along at home and you're maybe drinking some Ferme Julien yourself, I'd love for you to sound off in the comments. What do you taste? Does anybody taste green apple or am I delusional?
And if you don't, what fruit? I mean, it's very hard for me to determine if this is fruit based at all. I don't know. I have a level of doubt. But not to say I don't enjoy it. We'll get to the ranking at some point. Probably need another glass of it to arrive at something fair. Actually, the one other thing I like about this bottle that I didn't mention when I was holding it up earlier, got the goat on it, the pink goat. Kind of nice. Like, I
Cool
like
logo
that.
for sure.
I like that. So John, what's been going on in the last week since we've last roundtabled here?
Yeah, really not a lot. I was trying to think about notable things that have gone on over the last 7 days, and really what I landed on is Friday night, I watched a movie called Freaky Friday, which I'm sure many of the listeners have watched back when they were, like, 8. It's with Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis. I had my doubts. I wasn't really sure why I had gotten into this predicament where I was watching Freaky Friday. That's a good movie. It's pretty fun. Like Lindsay Lohan is a killer actress. Lindy and I looked it up. She's 16 at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like basically, I mean, everybody knows this, but the whole premise is she trades places with their mom, and then they get into all these shenanigans. Coolest scene in the entire movie is Lindsay Lohan. Her character was in a band. She's now her mom, but she has to go and perform in this band. So it's like her mom in her body. Her mom's like freezing up, whatever. And then it like basically Jamie Lee Curtis, who is Lindsay Lohan's brain, goes backstage and is like, "You got this, mom. Like, just go out there and rock out." And then there's this scene where Lindsay, like, the mom's all nervous, like in Lindsay Lohan's body up on the stage, like kind of jamming a little bit. And then it pans to Jamie Lee Curtis behind the curtains, just shredding on a guitar for this epic solo. And I lost my mind. I was like, this is so cool.
So is Jamie Lee Curtis also redhead, or did they play it safe and only go with one redheaded lead?
Dude, she's close to redhead. She might be brunette, strawberry blonde, or maybe a favorite term of mine, mahogany blonde. Almost red, not quite there.
Yeah. No, I love the term. I like it more than somebody who might say, strawberry brunette, because it's kind of just it's an original take. It's funny you mentioned that, actually, because I don't know if you're familiar or the listeners are familiar with Letterboxd, but it's like a movie review app. And so I originally stumbled into it because um if you sort movies by their worst rating, you get just the funniest reviews ever, like just pure toxicity. And as somebody who spends a lot of free time on Reddit reading people argue with each other, that's something that I like. And so I have one movie review that I have done on Letterboxd, and it is a Lindsay Lohan movie.
Huh.
It is, let me find it, The Parent Trap. And so, really, a lot of the review centers around my enthusiasm with the director opting to go with a redheaded lead.
Okay, so you just so we're clear, you reviewed The Parent Trap. And that's the only movie that you've reviewed on Letterboxd.
And I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars too, because the director at the time, this is a 1998 movie, and the director had the courage in that moment to go not only with a child lead, but with a redheaded child lead. And at that point, and I'm not a movie historian, but that might have been a first. I'm not sure. And then you get Ron later, it starts to become in vogue, but this was the first director to take a chance on something like that. And it's something, I literally saw it for the first time in the last 2 months, but it's kind of stuck with me. It's given me a little fire to be myself, be a redhead, give me a little confidence. I feel seen after watching a movie like that and knowing when it came out. It's
And who better to carry that torch than Lindsay Lohan? She actually
yeah.
crushes. And I do love how you like as a term of endearment, you just refer to who I assume is Ron Weasley as Ron.
Yeah, no, I figured that would come through. It's like I guess I don't know why this comes to mind. Maybe the Ferme is kicking in already, but it's like there's I assume that when a redhead says a name like Ron, or if I said like Ed to you, you would maybe like assume I'm talking about Ed Sheeran, right? Because it's
Yeah.
the only other redhead,
Yep.
and it's also, for what it's worth, other than Brad Pitt, those are the only two people I've ever been told you look like this person, is Ed Sheeran, which was horrifying every time I hear it, and then Ron Weasley, which I do myself no favors because I've been Ron Weasley multiple times for Halloween, but
Hmm.
um, I don't think we look alike. They're the only people in the public eye that have red hair.
Last thing I'll say about like Parent Trap, Freaky Friday, Lindsay Lohan. On our first episode ever, we did talk about Bachelor Behind Bars. We kind of played around with that. Um, that as like a potential pitch to ABC someday.
Mm.
There's an account on Instagram called Mug Shotties. I'm sure we'll get into this in a later episode. But speaking of mug shotties, which are
Mm.
basically just attractive girls that get like DUIs or something, and then they have their faces thrown out over Instagram.
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan has 6
No.
mug shots.
No, she doesn't. Does she?
Yes.
For
Yes.
what? What did she do wrong?
Driving under the influence with felony drug possession.
That's so strange. I feel like most child stars really lead a normal life after they make it big at 14, or so wait, so I'm looking at it right now. Freaky Friday came out in 2003. She was born in 1986. So she was 12 when The Parent Trap came out. That would have been like the first
Yeah.
time. Like, imagine being a celebrity at 12 years old.
Yeah, and she was so good. Like she isn't like a Disney Channel kid or anything. Like she's just like a bona fide like stud actress.
Lindsay Lohan is the Fully Cork podcast's first official bona fide stud. That's great.
Yeah, so enough about me.
Yeah.
What have you been up to over the last 7 days, Charlie?
So, while everybody else on earth, it seemed, went to Indio and Coachella, I stayed at home. I tended the Excel spreadsheets, watered the plants, things like that. But in the middle of all of that, Saturday was the most fearsome long run to date, half marathon.
Woo!
This was following the week before. It was 12 miles, and it was like the worst run of my life, plagued by self-doubt. It was terrible. I hated the pace. It just did not go well at all. So when I was thinking about 13, I was like, this is going to blow, or I'm going to fail, or both. But luckily went really smooth. I think, a big piece of that was probably not being hungover and not sleeping on my couch the night before. So that certainly helped. But yeah, so that was actually, a big highlight. And then Saturday I also went to Mitchell Hamlin's law school prom, which was awesome
Wow.
as well. Yeah, and not a law student myself, but it made me think a lot of things. Number one, first and foremost, it made me realize how much I have missed party buses in my life. Do you remember in college we'd be on party buses, like, at least it's like a monthly event?
So much fun. My first ever party bus event in college, I remember we went to a Brewers game in Milwaukee all the way up from Madison. It's like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. And somehow I had got my hands, after we had unloaded the buses, I had got my hands on a dead fish.
Mm.
And I think it was when we were like rushing fraternities or something, and I was like trying to show like my, I guess, value to the fraternity I was pledging. And so I took this dead fish and I threw it into some other fraternity's bus.
Nice.
It's like 90 degrees out. I can't imagine how awful that ride home would have been. Just putrid smelling seats. And
fast forward 3 months and you're pledge class president. Value shown. Check the box.
yeah,
Got it
yeah.
done.
I mean, for all of you 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds listening to this pod out there, there's hope. You just got to find a way to make a splash. No pun intended.
Yeah, take a big risk. Take a big risk and do it with probably a fish. I don't know if there is a better thing to be hucking into somebody's opposing fraternity's bus than that. So
yeah, it's all time. I mean, yeah, the direct pipeline to pledge class president. I see
It's
no other reason for why I was
well, and
elected.
your upstanding values outside of fish tossing, I think helped as well.
Yeah, of course. Genius, dashing good looks, all the above.
Yeah, and the fish toss.
And the fish.
Yeah. But yeah, so couple party bus things that were sweet. Super fun. It's kind of like when you golf and like you're drinking in a golf cart, and it's kind of like, why is so drinking and driving is illegal, but like it's kind of legal here. You kind of get that feeling anytime you're drinking in a moving vehicle, less maybe like a boat that you're not piloting. So that is super fun. I mean, like the whole environment of it is awesome, and you would appreciate this. Our first stop is at this kind of divey bar in kind of like Roseville, St. Anthony area in Minneapolis, Station 280. And I went in there and ordered their rail Pinot Grigio and asked the bartender. I don't know if you've heard this when somebody orders wine. I asked the bartender to make it a double. Um,
What even is a rail Pinot Grigio?
I don't know. It's I would have thrown up a wine review, but it did not meet the cut. It was I
It was
didn't
that
it
bad, like a 0 out of
oh, it was
10.
bad. It was bad. Not to say, Station 280, we love you. But the rail Grige was not a good decision.
So you doubled it up without even trying. It wasn't a situation where they pulled out a bottle. They had like a
Well,
nice glass in front of you. You got to do a little sniffing and
no, absolutely not. And they duped me, dude. What I was told while we were driving up into this bar is okay. So the thing that's great about this bar is it's 2 for 1 on every drink every day of the week. And so I was like, oh, this is perfect. Get 2 glasses of wine, and I come to learn after I order the double Grige that the wine is the only thing not included in like the free everyday daily double.
no, the bartender didn't tell you that either, did he?
No, just duped, and it just wasn't. It didn't move the needle. I mean, it moved my needle closer to being drunk, but not. It was nothing to. There's no comments to have about a wine like that. Not that I offer much insight on higher quality wine either. Other thought I had was I do have a lot of faith in the future of Minnesota's judicial system. A lot of bright people out there. It's always good to get humbled by a group of 20 soon to be lawyers who are like all smarter than you and younger than you and better looking than you.
Yeah, but Charlie, here, always remember this. When you're hunting for a house on a block, you always want to be the cheapest house on like a block of mansions. That's where you have the most value. And I feel like that is what you're likening yourself to at this Mitchell Hamlin law prom.
I like that quite a bit. I could be a cheap plot of land for somebody to build on. Something small, something reasonable, something humble. I think that could be a good fit for me. uh, but yeah, that was the weekend, and then naturally, I really do think it was the double Grige at Station 280, but Sunday was a bit of a battle. That was a hangover that beat me for sure.
Oh
So it's
man.
tough. One and
Couple
one and
weeks
one.
after talking about
I know.
bullying your
I
hangover,
know. I
here we
know.
are. It just beat you down.
It beat me. Not to say I did nothing, but I caved to it. It was too powerful.
Did you granola yourself again, or were
Um
you clean that night?
was I clean that night? Dude, actually, I had downloaded when I was Ubering home, I downloaded DoorDash again to my phone. And this is like at like 2 a.m. or like 2:30 or something. And with intention of waiting for a DoorDash to be delivered. And then when I got home, I was just like, this is just too depraved. Like, it's time to call it. There's no granola in the building, there's no popcorn. It's kind of just cash the chips. And I, I actually, no, I think I did make it to my bed. So no couch. It was actually, decent result for what could have happened there.
Made it to your couch, but so you basically just left a DoorDash sitting down
No,
with your
no, no,
doorman.
no. Didn't order anything at all. I was like, I downloaded it and was like planning on doing that, and then just was like, fuck it,
Oh,
it's not gonna
that's
happen.
great.
Yeah, no, pretty good result. Pretty good result.
You just reminded me of a time I was out in LA and it was a fun night out, heavy drinking, etc. Probably came home at like 1 a.m. and was just dead set on ordering a pizza. And I don't have any of those apps. Like I actually called the the pizza joint and I was like, I need a large pepperoni ordered to my hotel room. And then I get in bed and I was like perusing the channels, put on like, I don't know, Friends or Impractical Jokers, like, like those
Something
hotel
easy.
shows. Yeah, something easy. Like, side note, I really only watch Friends when I'm in hotels now, and I kind of love it. It's like my go-to show there. I've never watched it all the way through. I know
Really?
that's like
Oh,
unpopular opinion, like a lot of people have. I just keep it for hotels. It's fun.
it's a good ritual.
Puts me to sleep too, which I don't know what that says about Friends. I do love the show, but like I sleep like a baby, which happened
Yeah.
in this instance where I just kind of doze off and all of a sudden I wake up to like the telephone in the hotel room ringing right next to my ear. And I'm like obviously groggy and I see the time on the clock. It's like 3:30 in the morning and I answer, and it's the front desk, and they're like, "Is this room 608 or whatever I was in?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You have a pizza here that's been sitting down here for 2 hours. Can you come get it?"
What is
So,
like the time at this moment?
I think it was like 3:30 in the morning, and the pizza was ordered. I think I
Oh
said one
God.
earlier, anywhere between midnight and 1 a.m. I mean, I get it up to the room, and it's freezing cold. Like freezing fucking cold. And I'm just like, why did I do this? And all the fees, the delivery fee.
Yeah, there's no way you got out of there without spending 20. I'm gonna go with $27 is like the
Oh,
floor.
that was the floor. It was not. I think it had a 4 in front of it.
Oh no.
And just no joy or satisfaction out of it whatsoever.
So did you eat any of it though, or did you just kind of give up?
I gave up.
Gave up.
That's
Yeah.
I'm not one to like swallow my pride there. I was too proud to eat. I just put it on the side table and went to bed.
Put it on the side table, turn up Friends, and get ready for a nice long 8 hour sleep.
Yeah, I was so mad.
It's dude, that is kind of funny though. I mean, I think a lot of TV shows, I don't know if you're usually somebody who falls asleep to a TV show or like white noise, something like that, but I actually think that's why I fall asleep on my couch a lot is I'll be watching like a rerun of something and it's kind of therapeutic. I get Friends isn't a rerun for you, but just easy to drift off into a blissful sleep when that's going on.
That's great. I don't like the way that my bed is set up is I have to be sitting kind of at all times if I want to watch TV before bed.
Mm.
And so every time I fall asleep watching a show, I wake up at like again 3:30 in the morning like sitting upright, probably just having the worst possible sleep. Like when you're on an airplane and your head's like doing like the head bob thing and stuff. I do that all the time. And so I'm like on planes and on
Yeah.
trains. I'm sure I'm doing that like throughout the night. So I try really hard to not fall asleep watching TV because I just know I'm like
Yeah.
screwing myself for later.
And I think, the plain sleep thing is something we'll maybe have to dig into more at a later date. I find it impossible. I've had neck pillows. I've done everything you're supposed to do. And it's I cannot do it. It's impossible for me. No matter how exhausted I am too. Like I'm never comfortable. Maybe it's like my history with neck injuries that kind of like exacerbates the uncomfortableness there, but it's
Charlie, and I do want to circle back on that because I know in the first or maybe it was the second pod we had. I think you talked about how you broken your neck. Do you want to just like briefly elaborate on that because you just referenced your history with neck injuries?
Yeah, so my history is limited to one incident actually, where I dove into a 4 foot deep swimming pool, and broke my C6 and C7 vertebra. Didn't think it was broken. So, and this is on college spring break, and so the next day went out and about like nothing was wrong. And then the next day after that, I woke up and was like infinitely more sober and was pretty much came to the conclusion that the pain is shocking and constant and I need to be in a hospital. And then I wore a neck brace for 3 months, and it was a good character builder.
That's a character builder, all right. That is crazy. That breaking your neck, an entire day passed between between when you were like, "Oh shit, this might be an issue." Like you spent an
Yeah.
entire day trying to like enjoy your spring break.
I mean, yes, I did, but it wasn't like I was like chipper when I woke up. I didn't spring out of bed and be like, "All right, let's get after it, guys." Like I wasn't as locked in as Davis Clark, and we'll come back to Davis Clark later in this episode. But
Yeah.
I actually specifically remember I got out of the bed, and then one of the people we were on spring break with, because I'm moving slow, I'm kind of bummed because I unknowingly have a broken neck, and this guy's like, "Let's go, pussy! Like we need to get to the beach." And I'm like, "Okay, like I guess we're going to the beach."
Typical spring break morning.
Yeah. So I mean, it was yeah, that was something. But we'll come back to airplane sleeping. I'm
Yeah, I
not
mean,
sure.
last thing I'll say about the airplane, it's funny that you can't sleep on them. It probably is the neck injury. I could have like 2 full coffees before getting on any airplane and just completely sleep. And you know what's even worse is trains. I fall asleep on trains every time. Like if I'm a solo traveler, like you guys could easily pickpocket me. Like there's nothing I can do
Are
about it.
they
And
what?
I get what's that?
Sorry, finish your thought. Finish your
Oh, I get sleep paralysis. So I actually hate sleeping on moving transportation vessels. Yeah.
The only one I'm
That
comfortable with is transocean boat rides. For some reason, I don't get sleep paralysis there. Yeah.
I don't. I actually don't. But like sleep paralysis is a real thing. It is
Oh yeah.
miserable.
Oh
Like
yeah.
truly miserable.
As somebody who loves to nap, that's when I find myself having that too, where it's just kind of ruins the experience. But then you're so groggy when you wake up because you got no rest from your sleep because you're just like horrified. Then you kind of go back into it, and it just it's a vicious cycle.
It is. Mine happened when mine's happened when I'm sitting upright too. Like nobody should even be comfortable in that situation. And I just like my head just goes down. I'm doing the head nod and everything. And then without fail, my head gets caught in between my legs. And then I get sleep paralysis.
Wait. Yeah, so what are the logistics? Aren't the right word. What is the your head is all the way down to your knees?
You are thinking about it right. My head is in between my knees, like in all of these instances. Like I don't even know how I get down that low. I'm
Have you been
sleeping.
stretching a lot like that?
No, I'm
That's
not even that
crazy.
flexible.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, I guess
Very
like of
impressive.
course I'm facing my demons if in my sleep like I've somehow put my head in between my legs. But like at that point, and then the worst part is then I can't move it up. Like I'm
You're
stuck down there. Like
stuck.
that's the whole
Yeah.
point of sleep paralysis. And then you're fighting demons, and it is like there's been multiple times where I've like spasmed to try to get out of it and then
Oh
like
yeah.
freak people out next to me. Like I'm like flailing all appendages. Nothing's actually moving. That's like the craziest thing. It's like it's extremely embarrassing coming out of sleep paralysis. Like you know what I
I
mean?
feel like you have like that moment where you wake up, you have like a little flutter or a kick, like a maybe slightly spastic reaction. But I have the same experience where when it happens to me, I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like trying so hard to move anything, and then you'll get
Hmm.
like maybe a little something, but you'd think when you wake up, like your arm is going to go flying into somebody, or you're going to like jump right
Yeah.
out of the bed. But it's has not been the case for me. You like wake. I'm sure if it can't, like I probably just have like a shocked face when I wake up, like just a scarred little boy getting out of his slumber. Like that's like the only thing. Like I don't think I'm like doing anything when I leave it, but other than like just being like, well, fuck it, time to go back to sleep. But and just
I've hit
risk
one
it
person
again.
before. Yeah, I've hit
Really?
one person before. Yeah, like just on an airplane. Like I think I threw like an elbow or something. It was fine. I apologize. Like in my rattled state.
You threw a
I
boat.
know I'm like a bad sleeper though because I literally embarrassed Lindy. Like we were
Mm.
driving like
You were driving a train.
Yes, I was. Thank you. I was on a train driving cross country through Italy, and like
Mhm.
it's like beautiful. I'm like trying to like enjoy the scenery, whatever, but I put a podcast in, immediately fall asleep. She nudges me, or like more like elbows me, and she's like, "John, like you're embarrassing me. People are staring." And I look up, and like everybody in this train car is looking at me, and I was like, "Why are they staring at me?" And she's like, "You literally look like you're like headbanging in like a screamo band or
Oh
something."
my
Like
god.
there, there's nothing I can do about it. I just fall back asleep. Like it's again, it's like such a curse. I get a lot of people are like, "Fuck you, you can sleep on like these long like rides. That's so lucky." No, like I would love to not have to like I have to sleep when I get on these like
Do you also, in your sleep paralysis, outside of moving, do you find yourself, like, trying to speak? Like, if you're taking a nap with somebody else in the room or something, I feel like a lot of the time I'm trying to get a word out and can't move my lips, but, like, at some point, I get something out in this sleep paralysis, which I can't imagine again like, reality is making it out of my lips, but, like, I feel like oftentimes it's, like, me encouraging somebody to wake me up because you know you're in a sleep paralysis. And so like if in my sleep talk is like, wake me up, nudge me, like that would be
help me, help
yeah,
me.
exactly, dude. Like imagine that on an airplane, like somebody's doing that to you. Like you kind of just have to let them battle the demon.
Now that you put that in my head, it's gonna happen to me. I've been lucky enough to like I think be unscathed from that, but like I guarantee you that's gonna happen now.
Yeah, well, I good luck to everybody flying Delta in the next couple months here. We got a menace on our
Oh
hands.
boy. Yeah, we do.
So speaking, this is actually a decent segue. Another segment we're gonna do here is just going through some pet peeves. I don't know if it'll be fast, slow. Maybe we'll go into a couple tangents here, but um, I think the sleep paralysis is closer to just like a horrifying reality than a pet peeve. Because for me, a lot of these pet peeves are like things that don't have to happen, and like there's no reason or sense to why people are doing these things, and largely my pet peeves are to do with other people. There's actually one I have that is my pet peeve for my current situation and self, but why don't you kick us off, John?
Yeah. So I got a couple. I actually have three. I'll start with the first one that I think a lot of you can relate with. Maybe not though, because like this happens a lot, and I hate a lot of these people. Slow walkers.
Mm.
I am a extremely fast walker. Like I, I I'm sure I'm like a slow walker's pet peeve where I'm like all huffing and puffing, like all annoyed, like trying to get around you. But like I don't understand people that don't walk with a purpose. Like just don't you want to get somewhere faster? I, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like the objective of walking, unless you're literally out for a stroll, which like who the hell does that? Who takes a stroll anymore? Is to get from point A to point B. I don't understand. And maybe it's a little bit just comes along with like clueless walkers that are just like
Yeah,
walking
in the
in the
way.
middle of the sidewalk. They have no regard for personal space or like any spatial awareness. Like they're just going to like take up the whole thing, and they're walking at, I mean, it's the same archetype of person every time,
But just
but
oblivious.
just oblivious. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing though that there's people going through life like this. None of our listeners, of course, but like there are people out there that just like go through the motions day in and day out every single day of their life. And like, I feel like those are the slow walkers. I
I
would love for a slow walker to sound off in the comment, or are you about to tell me that
Well,
you're
no,
a slow
no.
walker?
I don't think I'm a slow walker. But I think somebody who's just going through the motions is not somebody who's going for like a voluntary stroll. That's like a very like spur of the moment, like seize the day type of activity. I think that's when I would be walking slow, by the way. Like if I was like, let's say I was visiting you or something, and you and our people out there were on calls or whatever, and I came in a day early and I wanted to
Mhm.
go look around San Francisco, then I might, meander a little aimlessly, probably go to Phil's, get a coffee, and loop around. But I think for the most part, I'm not. But I also think maybe more than other people, I don't have like an objective when I'm walking. It's kind of a little bit of like, let's just see what's going on around here, like a little
Oh
exploratory.
no.
This is
You're
like I'm
starting
like a
to sound exactly
closeted
like
slow
my
walker.
antithesis
Yeah.
to my pet peeve.
No, it's and honestly, when I'm doing that, kind of what I hate is when some huffy puffy guy comes up behind me and starts to get in my space.
No.
No, I'm kidding. I think
Oh.
it actually it leads in well to this. I'm not sure if this is my number one pet peeve, but as somebody who was like being a super commuter for about 3 months into my
Mhm.
job, and that is defined as somebody who's driving more than an hour each way to
Oh
get
my
into the office.
gosh.
Um, so my issue is people who drive in the left lane who like have no business doing so. Like these are the people who need to look in the mirror before they get in the car, even their car mirror sometimes to remind them on the road and look at themselves and say, I'm not somebody who is prepared to go quickly and then move into the right lane because it's just unbelievable on these 2-lane highways in Minnesota, like particularly like I was up north and so, there's not a lot of real estate on the road. But when you get somebody who's like I want to be in cruise control the entire time. And so
Mhm.
and at slightly above the speed limit. And for the most part, I am in the right lane because really only need to use left to pass people who are rightfully in the right lane, people who are going slow. And that's a perfect system until you have some jackass in the left lane going 2 under the speed limit and like zoning out and just locking that in as their pace creates a blockade. It makes me late to work, or not even like late to work, but late to the time that I wanted to be there. And my other pet peeve is if in the case I'm in the left lane and we have some hero who wants to be an F1 driver, they catch up to me in the left. What I will do every single time is get into the right lane, give them a chance. Go if you're going to be a speed racer, go and I will follow. I will not block you because I've been in your spot. I've been late to shit. I've been driving fast. I respect it. And if they fail to take that opportunity to get ahead of me, if they go off their uh, gas pedal when I go right, that is maybe even a bigger pet peeve of mine because I gave you your chance and now I'm slowing down. I'm in the right lane. It's just terrible. And then I look at them. If I do eventually go past this car, I will probably 6 out of 10 times not roll down the window, but give them like a thumbs down, like a just kind of through the window, a thumbs
Let them
down.
know.
Yeah,
You let them
because
know.
you have failed. I gave you your chance. You thought you were a hero and you failed to seize the opportunity. And it's very frustrating.
Two things. One, say this actually works out. You get out of that person's way.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the most beautiful thing you could possibly have. You have a lead blocker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have somebody
Mm-hmm.
that's like abusing the speed limit that you
Yep.
can trail at pretty much the same speed, but they're going to get picked up or gunned
Yep.
by the cop,
Yep.
not you.
Love to see it.
It's
Love to see
beautiful.
it.
So I kind of get that there's a dance to it, right? Like you tailgate until the person can't take it. They let you through, and then you're like, ah, shit. Like I thought you were my lead blocker. That's my
Yeah.
first point. Love the lead blocker. Second point. This sounds a lot like my slow walkers. Like you have
No.
the same pet peeve just when you're behind a motorized vehicle. Like
Well, now that I think about it, maybe these people in the left lane aren't trying to get somewhere. They're just going out for a drive.
yeah,
They're
they're just
just
going for a
driving
drive. They're going
around.
for a fucking stroll, and you're
Dude,
pissed about it because
yeah,
you're
you're
trying to
right.
get somewhere. Drive with a
That's
purpose.
yeah.
Yes.
No, I think now I'm coming around. There's no well, there is a place in both instances for these types of people, but it's just I see it too much to not have it weigh on my mind a little bit.
This so now on to my second pet peeve. This is going to be a very funny 180
Okay.
because as much as I hate slow walkers, my second pet peeve I wrote down is sprinters in the office. Now, I don't know. This might be a really niche pet peeve, but people that sprint through the hallways in the office, on a regular basis. Like I know like I could name 3 people right now that I know if they're running late to a meeting or they printed something, like they're running. And it's like
Or if they did you just say or if they printed something?
printed, like
So
a
they're
piece of paper.
sprinting so they can get hot ink, or like why the hell are they sprinting?
That's so my only hypothesis for that is that it's confidential, like maybe it's salary
Oh.
information
Oh,
or something, and they're
wow.
like trying to like hawk it off. But like again, I know who this person is. Their office is not that far away from the printer. Like
So
that is insane.
this is not necessarily relevant to my analysis of whether I agree or disagree with that pet peeve, but are these sprinters wearing loafers or like Hokas?
Loafers, they're well
Okay,
dressed.
okay,
It's
okay.
it's it's bizarre. It's a little off-putting. If
So
you're gonna be late to a meeting, or I guess late to a printed document, just own up to it and walk in at your normal pace. Like,
well, normal pace, what if their normal pace is slow?
well,
What if
that
they're a
doesn't make
slow
any sense.
walker?
So you could only walk slow, or you have
Or
to
you have to
sprint.
sprint. No, it reminds me of something I heard from one of the greatest chemistry teachers I've ever had at St. Thomas Academy, where she would say to us when we were putting like erasers and other stuff that shouldn't be on the Bunsen burner, no horseplay in the lab. And this seems a lot like horseplay in the office. And
This is
so
horseplay. Yeah.
for that reason, I agree. And also, it's kind of alarming. Like if somebody went flying
Yes.
by me, I might think this building is on fire or, you know,
Yes.
any
I'm telling you, it's a niche pet peeve, but like it actually peeves me. Like
mm.
my day gets worse the second I hear a sprinter, and I like make a point to
I
like
hear a sprinter,
crane
bro.
my
Are they
neck around
wearing
my
like
cubicle, like to go like try to make a point that like it's bizarre behavior and I don't like it.
Mhm. Well, I guess that's a similarity we have where I will give a thumbs down to somebody, you'll crane your
Yep.
head. They're both, I'm sure, just generally ineffective. As a Minnesotan, I refuse to honk at people. I think I've used my horn maybe 5 times in my
Oh,
entire
that's
life.
so funny, dude.
I
Ever
really
since
don't.
moving to California, people here suck at driving. I'm using my horn defensively most of the time.
Yeah,
But, like,
more
sometimes you gotta let a
justifiable.
person know they're an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. I agree, but it's so hard for me because when somebody honks at me, I have almost maybe this is like the slow walker in me coming out. I've almost universally like felt that I am not at fault. Like there's sometimes I literally will find myself saying if I'm the bad driver in a situation, it does them no good, but I will say out loud, my bad, as if they can hear me.
No.
Yeah.
In your own car?
Yeah, because then because it's like a reaction. Like if you fumble like some shit pass when you're playing pickup basketball, you say my bad. Like you acknowledge that you're wrong. And unfortunately, this is a person who won't be able to hear the acknowledgement, but like I think that is worth something. It maybe not to them, but like it at least it's just a natural reaction for me, I guess. So I am next going to go to um this comes to mind. This I wrote this down because this happened to me the other day, and it will require a little bit of explaining. But so the other day at the gym, I asked somebody, "Are you using that?" After observing that they were not using the item that was near their little station. So this person is benching, and they had one of the bands that I like to like warm up with. But it wasn't, it was like maybe 2 feet away. It's sitting on the ground. I haven't seen him use it in 5 minutes. So I was kind of like sitting there, biding my time and like assessing the situation. I go over there and I
Wait, you weren't just, like, lurking around, right?
no, I wasn't on top of this person, but I was like doing my other warm up stuff. And then I was like, this is the last thing I need in order to be completely warmed up. And I've seen that this person has just left it on the ground. To me at this time, it was not clear that they were even using it. It could have just been left there.
Is this like a cable cord or
This
what
is
are you using to
like
warm up?
I guess like those stretchy bands that are like they're like a circle, but I use them to like warm up like my shoulders and like stretch out my back a little bit.
Mhm.
I guess there's a I don't know better way to describe that, but it's the Ferme is preventing me. And So anyway, I go up to this person and I go, "Are you using that?" with full expectation for them to say, "No, it's all yours." Or another scenario where somehow they imagine they are using it even though they're not, they say, "Yup, I got one set left, you can have it." But this person like turns to me, just straight face says, "Yes." No elaboration. And so my expectations are not set. I don't know when it's going to become available because the current usage is zero anything in the last 5 minutes that I've been like keeping tabs on the situation. And so I found that to be it was frustrating. I think it's that specific type of response is a peeve of mine. Like, at least let me know what the hell is going on here. But I think, I found it very disruptive, I guess. And also, maybe I'm the asshole for going up and like bugging somebody when they have like equipment there. Like, I'm all for people doing whatever you want in the gym, any sort of exercise, but like, I just felt it was too close to a monopolization of one very like specific thing that's available there.
Yeah, nothing short of selfish. I mean, at bare minimum, be like, but you can work in with me.
Yeah, it's a cord you haven't fucking touched in 5 minutes. Like, let me use it for 1 minute to stretch out, and then you'll never see me again. Like,
I get that. I've been on the receiving end of that too, and I kind of hate those people, but like I get it. It's like the those that are committed to their workout, which in this case you were too. You're warming up, you want to make sure your shoulders, like I'm assuming your neck too, like it's all good. It's got to get like worked out with this band. Like I get it. So,
this was, mind you, this was when I was trying to beat my hangover on Sunday, is when this occurred.
oh, you needed it.
I
Okay, well
needed it.
that's different. Like I almost in the future, like don't even ask. Just
Just
grab it
grab
and
it. I
deal with
should
it.
have.
Like
That's exactly what I thought
even
when I
an
did it.
argument with that person is going to feel better than the
I
hangover that's
and I would
beating you
be and I would be done with it before they even knew it was gone, is like the worst thing. I think,
down.
although I do agree with you, like, I don't like when people, I don't feel super strongly one way or another, but it is like slightly irritating when somebody comes up and asks you like, how many sets do you have left? Or like, when you're obviously using something, because then you feel a little
Mhm.
rushed. But
You feel like a slow walker.
yeah,
Like, that
yeah,
person that said yes to your
he's probably
flex
a slow
band or whatever,
walker.
probably a slow walker, like, just a purposeless gym outing. Like, what it's just sitting on the ground for 5 minutes next to this person, like,
And again, like, I need to highlight that because it wasn't like I walked over to some guy who was like pumping a bench press and said, "Are you using that bench press?" Like, this, I was careful about how I approached this, or at least I thought. And so that was a very disappointing response to hear. And, as since Sunday launched into a peeve of mine, I really hope I don't have to deal with that again. It's so small, but I was kind of like just sitting there rattled, like, okay, well, fuck me, I guess.
I was gonna say, like, how do you respond to that? Do you just, like, hang your head and walk away?
I did what you do in the office. I went somewhere else and I craned my head and I looked at him, let him know I didn't like it.
He felt that death glare through
Yeah.
the eyes in the back of his
No,
head.
I was kind of trying to work around it, but it was very disturbing.
Did you
Um,
watch him? Like, did he end up using this piece of equipment or
so he did, to his credit, he did use it one more time, but it was in like the laziest, like, so God, I wish I had like something handy that I could like demonstrate this with, but it's yeah, he did use it. So fair play to him. He wasn't done with it, but
he didn't use it well?
he didn't use it with a frequency that would suggest you can't say you can work in. He was slopping around with it. I didn't like it. All right, back to you. What do you got next?
Here's my last one. So, it's manicured beards on men, which is kind of like a weird peeve because I generally have facial hair, and, like, I also think that if you're a dude and you have a neck beard, like, that you couldn't be doing yourself less of a favor. Like, if you're a guy and you don't shave, like, this portion of your neck,
Mhm.
if you're a dude and you don't shave, like, down here, you're never gonna be, like, respected at all, like, unless you're, like, an offensive lineman in the NFL, like, then you can do
Oh,
whatever
they
you
can get away
want,
with
but,
that,
like,
yeah.
But here's my thing is my qualm too is, like, if you, like, try too hard and you've, like, shaved down, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I
you've
know
seen it
exactly
where
what you're talking about.
it's, like, perfectly manicured you're, like, almost wearing the beard like a fashion statement, and maybe it's, like, manicured eyebrows too on men. I just the whole point of a beard is, like, rugged, like, I think, like, hunting trips, fishing trips, like,
Yeah.
you're not, like, putting on your, like, coiffed I don't even know what you coif. Coiffed pants?
I think your hair is coiffed.
It looks bizarre.
So, I think, a couple things here. So, number 1, with somebody who has a very organized beard like that, is part of your concern that it's too much effort, or is it that you don't like the actual look?
I think it's the effort for me. I think I think a well manicured beard is fine. Again, not too well manicured. Again, I don't wanna see, like, that a barber, like or that you were, like, shaving into a formation, right? Like, shave your neck, but, you don't have to go further than that. I guess that's the point.
I see what you're saying. For whatever reason, in my Instagram Explore, there's, like, all these, like, weird extreme haircuts that people are doing that, like, you know how, like, everything on somebody's face when they get their haircut is, like, perfectly lined up, like, it's a perfect semicircle on their cheek and, like,
Yes.
and, like, that is obviously too much, but if somebody's, like, shaving down on their cheek, I could maybe get behind it. The only issue is that I don't it doesn't fill for me, my cheek doesn't fill in enough for me to even have a chance. Like, I can't even be this over manicured man because I'm still, like, hoping I hit puberty and, like, actually get a full beard. So it's it's
I mean,
hard. It's
I
hard for
can't
me.
grow a full beard either. So, like, to the over manicured men out there, like, this is maybe an apology. I'm jealous. I can't grow a beard. Like, I can't even be over manicured. I think it's just the effort though. And okay, yeah, if I had to if I grew a full beard on a regular basis, like, maybe I do start thinking about, like, how do I manicure this?
Mhm.
Because sure as hell, the hardest thing to do is shave it all. Like, that's brutal. So, like, I mean, that's why I have a beard in the first place. It's just easier to not shave. But, like,
Dude, I think the beard so, I mean, there's that. That's one of the reasons I have a beard. The other one is I think it's kind of like man makeup. Like, it's
oh
I
yeah,
feel like
you have a
almost
shitty jawline. You put a little beard in there, like,
you could create deceit with it, and I guess what I was getting at is there's a little mystery. Like, nobody knows what's under the beard other than, people who have seen you clean shaven, but it's like when everybody was wearing masks in COVID and you were kind of I remember being out in the world, and when you can only see someone's eyes, your imagination just runs wild. Like, I was like, everybody is hot in COVID because, like, I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe they have a perfect smile under there.
I'm trying to think back to, like, the last time I was, like, fully clean shaven. I actually feel naked.
Oh,
Like, like, I feel so dry.
when's the last time you were, dude? I literally have not been clean shaven since COVID. Not
The
once.
last time I was clean shaven, um, is, like, early in my relationship with Lindy, and I got a haircut the same day I, like, shaved all my facial hair.
Oh
I'm not
god.
kidding, Charlie. I went from, like, age 24 to, like, 12 years old. Like, I looked like a fucking, like, tiny little boy, like like an adolescent, and Lindy, the look in her eyes that she gave me, it was, like, disgust, disappointment, there was, like, sadness, and, like, a little bit of resent. Like, it was actually, like, the worst like, I've never felt worse about myself than when I showed up with a haircut and a fully shaved I don't think I've gone without facial hair since. Like, that is, like, a feeling I never wanna feel again.
And I'm honestly the reason I haven't is I'm too scared to face that reality. Like, I think I need to grow up a few more years before I get a full shave again because I just wouldn't want to be reduced to, like, I feel like I'm 20, Like, I feel like I would feel like a baby.
Hey, at some point, like, maybe when I'm, like, 45, I'm gonna wanna be clean shaven, right? Like, it's like it all
I'm
goes
gonna
back
want to
and
be
forth.
as clean as a whistle at 40.
I also think it's like wearing a hat in college was cool because everybody had hair, and then half the people
Oh.
lose their hair. and then all of a sudden it's like not cool to wear a hat because you want to show you have a full head of hair.
Mhm.
Also, like some people look really good bald. I am terrified what I'd look like bald. Like I have
I
a small head. I don't think that plays well with like being bald. Like I'd rather have like a big head that's
I don't
prominent.
know. Bald people in the comments sound off, but what is the better head shape? I think you could do it because you have a longer head. I think if you have like a really like my head is, and you can't see it right now, but like
What the hell do you mean I have a longer head? I feel
like
like I
my
have a
head is
small.
like thicker than yours. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's just I'm wider maybe is a better way to describe it. But if you have like a circle head in your bald, I don't. Well, maybe it could work with like just all the. I don't know. I don't know. We should we might have to just go on Snapchat and put on some bald filters and kind of make an assessment. But
We have some friends that like that are bald that like look good as bald people. Like
for sure.
I'm I'm terrified. I, like that just I just don't think it's in the cards for me.
I'm not looking forward to it if that day does come for me. Yeah, no, I don't think I don't know, bro. The other thing is with my
You would look
eyebrows.
better
No, no,
bald.
no, 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 John. My eyebrows. I have platinum
Oh,
blonde eyebrows. Like there would be like people would
yeah.
assume I was like born with a disease that didn't allow any hair to grow on my entire body.
That is true. The white eyebrows.
It would scare people, dude. I'm like in middle school, people were making fun of me for not having eyebrows because of this eyebrow color, amongst a sea of other things. Like I was a very, very portly child, and I also had red hair, so it was like and South Park at that time came out with the Ginger Kid episode, so it was like this like
No.
firestorm of
No.
reasons to bash me outside of the ones I provided. I mean, it's just kind of like things I couldn't change. Um,
For what it's worth, I was also bullied for things I couldn't change in middle school. Like that was just like a tough time to be a kid.
all you middle schoolers out there listening, it'll get better at some point, but it's tough. It's
In
tough.
middle school, you are at rock bottom. You can only go up. And if you don't feel like you're in rock bottom in middle school, like hit the books, figure something out. Like you cannot peak in middle school. That is like the worst possible time to peak.
And yeah, you got a lot of life ahead of you there.
Charlie, how many middle schoolers are we talking to here? Like
Yeah,
0?
I don't know. I don't know. That could be
I
our
don't know. Yeah,
biggest our biggest group. So I just don't want to
it's true.
isolate them.
Middle schoolers, sign off in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so I'll move. I have a two more here, but I'll just move to one. I think I can hit pretty quickly. This is a
I was
very
gonna say we might have to wrap this pod actually after your last peeve. This is the last one. Make it count.
I and I had mentioned that we'll get to Davis Clark. That will have to be postponed. I have a lot of thoughts on Davis Clark that I'm excited to share. But um, so my last pet peeve is the word probably in all circumstances in any usage of the word, and it's for a number of reasons. So I think first of all, in my experience encountering the word probably, I'm not sure if a singular word has robbed as much enthusiasm from me as in my limited career as somebody who makes a plan as the word probably. Whenever you hear that
Ooh.
word from somebody, it does two things. One, it advances your plan, ideation, everything else in neither direction. You don't know if it's yes, you don't know if it's no. It essentially is responding maybe or not responding at all. There's no committal nature to it. And also, worse than not responding or everything else, you then have to go follow up with the person who says probably and be like, so now that you've had more time to think about it and your schedule, like, what's it gonna be? And then you run the risk of somebody doubling down and going, I'm not sure on top of
Oh.
it, just totally crushing any fragment of ego you had left. And so I don't like it. It's a wishy-washy word. I think it means nothing. It's better left unsaid in all scenarios. It's like my dad used to hammer he was like, when you go to college, like a lot of people when they go to college are like their parents will say, don't do drugs, wear condoms. My dad said, when you go to college, if you can, you should take a grammar course because that was really helpful for me. And this is like the perfect example of a word that has no place almost anywhere in the English language. It's completely weak. in a grammar sense, but also in an interpersonal sense, I just find it offensive. I do not like the word probably.
This is great because I have a friend who is a probably abuser,
Hmm.
and he actually watches the pod. So this is going to be kind of fun. Like he knows who he is, and anybody else that knows of him knows who he is. I'm not going to name him, but he has been quoted in a text saying that is a definite probably from me. Imagine receiving a text that, let's say I'm inviting you to go golf. Like we're going to go golf 18. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to be in that cart drinking beers, whatever. And then all of a sudden your buddy hits you with, "Oh yeah, that's a definite probably." What probability do you assign to that?
I assign it a probability 0. Like,
You think
that's really
zero?
no. It's not that they feel it is a 0, but that is what I must do. Like, probably,
Yeah.
like, those types of things, it's like, the issue is it suggests a chance it might happen, but at the same time, if you set your expectation to any level of follow through, you're going to be disappointed more often than you're not. And that's why it's a pet peeve. It's like it's similar to the left lane driver where it's like you need to look in the mirror and determine yes or no. Like just speak your heart. I won't be hurt if you say no. Love it if the answer is yes, but like don't just leave me in a lurch. Like that sucks.
I'm almost 100% a probably on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I no, that is good. And like honestly, like if I look at my own set of pet peeves, like they're all things that I've maybe been an offender of in the past too. So it's not like I'm not trying to make claim that I haven't done that. Like as a Minnesotan, like I've absolutely done this same thing. But I think in my now advanced age relative to our middle school viewers, I've come to find that it's better to just be as honest as you can. Yes or no. Don't don't maybe, don't probably. Make a decision.
That is such a good way to end this pod, Charlie. And
Yeah.
I say we do just that. Let's
Yep.
sign off here. So, to all of our viewers that made it this far, thank you so much. You guys mean everything to us. We really appreciate it. Go follow us on YouTube. Go follow us on Instagram. We are on TikTok. Please rate us 5 stars. We seriously appreciate it. We appreciate you. Charlie, any last words?
Yeah. Much thanks to everybody, and we'll see you on the next one. And yeah, love you guys.
Love you guys.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye.